Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and the Ford Mustang is one of the most iconic and divisive cars out there on the internet because you can get it all the way up to the GTD and Dark Horse full-on performance models that are ripping around the Nürburgring at record-setting times, or you can have all the way on the other end of the spectrum like this EcoBoost automatic convertible option here for about $51,000. And I am here to argue today that this is the Mustang that makes the most sense. Now bear with me. The Ford Mustang here in 2025 coming into 2026 is no longer a driver's car. And I'd argue you could pose the argument that it's never really been a driver's car. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are options like the Shelby GT350, one of my favorite cars that I've driven over the last ever, I suppose, with that motor. There are some incredibly capable and fast Mustangs out there around track or on drag strip or from stoplight to stoplight. But the Mustang in and of itself was never meant to be a car that really scratched the itch of hitting apexes and getting the most driving feel and enjoyment from an enthusiast standpoint. This is a car that is intended to evoke feeling and emotion and a sense of excitement from not only behind the wheel, but from any of its four seats. And I would argue, again, that the EcoBoost here in 2025 actually fits that better than the Mustang GT. And don't get me wrong, I love the 5-liter, and I love the 6-speed manual transmission that you can no longer get with the EcoBoost, but for the prices that that car is commanding and the weight and the lack of engagement that you get with that car, true driving enthusiasts are going with other options. They're not buying Mustang GTs for $50-some thousand. They're buying GR86s or Miatas, or, I mean, what else can you get these days? Civic Type Rs. Or even more so, they're going back to the days of E46 M3s and Honda S2000s and cars that really provided a visceral driving feel. So for about $36,000, you can get a hardtop coupe EcoBoost Mustang that gives you 310 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque, incredible amounts of easy tuning ability to bump those numbers up close to GT 5-liter numbers. You're getting 4 seats, and you're getting an experience that, again, is unique and fun, as opposed to something that just feels like you're supposed to be out there carving canyon corners. So today we're going to go for a drive with this EcoBoost convertible, and I'm going to go over my pros and cons. Now you're seeing it here with the premium package, so we're getting these really nice wheels. It's in grabber blue paint. Other than that, not too many big surprises. We'll see some more stuff in the interior. The trunk is a trunk. It can put things, a few bags or whatnot. You see the big subwoofer there for the B&O 12-speaker sound system. You can see a dedicated review of that from the link below. We also have a dedicated fuel economy test as well on this one, where it did, I would say, pretty well. And then opening it up inside, you see the 4-seater setup. You can fit back there as a full-sized adult. It's not particularly comfortable, but you can do it. Definitely a little bit more intended for children. And you have some cool cross-stitching on these leather seats, some Mustang emblems and logos, and a big old set of screens. So let's get right into my pros and cons. And the first one, I've got to emphasize, because it's my biggest qualm with this car. I don't care that it's not necessarily a driver's spec, but the fact that you have no way of manually shifting this 10-speed automatic transmission is disgraceful to me. No paddle shifters, and not even any manual shifter here on the center. I mean, at least give us an ability to slap it over to the side and pump back 1 or 2. This is a 10-speed automatic transmission, which means if you're letting it do its own thing, you might be driving through some fun twisty corners on a highway, or you commute home or something, and you're way up in 8th or 9th gear when really you want to be down in 4th or 3rd and getting to experience kind of having some fun with that gearbox. So I don't care if you're not up on power the way the GT is or anything like that, but the fact that you can't get a manual and you can't even manually shift this anymore, even though this has the optional performance package, that's pretty disgraceful to me. Not only that, but it has a track mode. So right here, you've got track that says for track driving only, and you've got these track apps here. We should go in and you can do things like lap timers and line lock and brake performance and everything, but you have no way of manually shifting this car. Come on, Ford, that's pretty lame. Next con, coming back out here, I'm gonna go against the styling. I understand the argument that it's a bit of an evolution of the previous generation Mustang, the S550, but to me it's too much of an evolution rather than a revolution. I kind of like how distinct the Mustang generations are. I suppose you could argue that from kind of the 2004 model up into the later 2000s and early 2010s, that evolution was very, very subtle as well, and then they went to an entirely new gen. So I guess you could pose that this is almost a little bit more like a facelift, and I don't think it looks bad. It just looks a little too generic and uninspired to me, and personally I would just get a previous gen because it looks just about as good, if not a little bit cleaner, and I'd be getting most of the same car. I would have liked to see something bolder and more worth spending your money on here on this new generation of Mustang. Next con, I'm going to see if I can replicate it here, but throughout the week that I've had this car, the windows haven't closed properly on this side. And let's see, it looks like they are up properly right now. So let me see if I can get this to replicate. It might be something that only happens when the convertible top is up, but let's see here. I think if you do the front window first and then try to close the back window, it doesn't go up properly. So let's close this there. And what it's resulted in is when you're driving on the highway, it's really loud. Sounds like a window's open because it is partially open. It's not closing all the way. Just real great Ford quality, I suppose. So it seems to be working fine now. So I bet you it's a problem with the convertible top is up. So let me know if you're a Mustang owner, if you've had that issue at all with these back windows not lining up properly and creating a gap. Here we go. Now we got the top up and you can see this gap right there. If we put that window down, see how it's not closing all the way? On this side it's closed all the way, but not on that side. So I think if we put the front window all the way down, then bring the back windows up. Now is it good? No, still a gap. So maybe if can I help the window along here? I can't reach both. Maybe I can just pull it. Oh, there we go. Did you see how much that moved? Now it's closed all the way. Ford quality, I tell you. Next con, getting back inside here, we're going to talk about the infotainment system here in the Pros, because I actually think it's a pretty cool tech suite in the new gen of Mustang here. You can see my old school gauge cluster and everything, but I do have two issues with the infotainment. One, it's too far away. You have this solid piece of glass design, which is essentially done for cost saving. Yeah, it looks kind of cool, but mostly it's done to save money. And when you're driving here in a normal position, the screen is so far away to touch that you're finding yourself reaching way up and having to kind of balance your hand and press the elements of the screen. And because there's so much done in the screen, including climate control, that means if you're just driving along and you want to bump the temperature up a little bit, you got to take your eyes off the road and lean way forward off the seat back in order to make adjustments, as opposed to just a quick, easy reach down and turn of a knob. And then next, it's a laggy infotainment system. And if you own one of these, you might be saying, what do you mean? It's fine. It doesn't take that long. But once you have a car that reacts almost instantly to inputs, and there's none of this load time and kind of input delay, if you will, and none of this refresh delay, you realize that this is not a very advanced processor or system in here. It could be a much more quick to respond screen, many fewer input delays and kind of loading times, if you will, that sort of add up together to create a system that feels, look at that, very laggy, as opposed to a system that's much more responsive. And when there's so much that's done in the touchscreen, that makes it that much more important for the screen to be quick, snappy, and intuitive.
Daggering, noted. Okay. I'll look it up.
Also, why did that start playing?
Do you ever...
The last con, and fortunately for those who are fans of the Mustang, tell pretty much all of my cons are just with the car static. But we start the engine here. This EcoBoost has the optional Sport Performance exhaust, and I would argue it doesn't sound great. It's mostly just this low, rumbly drone that's particularly loud, especially when you cold start the car. Some of you might find it cool, and it's also nice that you can quiet it down right here. I have my custom mode to have quiet exhaust. You can hear how much quieter it is. I don't know if something's getting piped into the speakers here in order to make it even louder. It's actually possible that something's coming through the speakers and the subwoofer, and that's what's creating some of that boom. I find it a little too much. All right, starting off here with my pros, and I can tell you that the pros very much outweigh the cons. There's a lot I like about the Mustang convertible here. And the first one has to do with the convertible top, and it's the ease, quickness, and simplicity. If I want to put the top up, just turn the car on, start pressing this button, 2, 1000, 3, 1000, 4, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008, 1009, 1010, 1011, 1000. Pretty much 11 seconds to close, and then bada bing, bada boom, it's up and done. Now, I would like some sort of electronic confirmation when the top is all the way down, so you know when you can release the button. But essentially, you turn, start pressing 2, 1000, 3, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1000, and you're done. I mean, that's pretty cool. So you can do that at a quick stoplight, up, open, and because it's got this manual latch mechanism, it's probably going to last a lot longer than a system that has to automatically close itself. Next pro. Hopefully you can see it all okay here with the bright sunshine and the dark screen layout, but I think this is a particularly cool tech suite in this car. Let's see if I can get this to have a brighter image here. That would be under center display. Well, either way, despite the system being a bit laggy and far away, I like how much you can do with it. I like how much information is available in the center. I like all of the audio inputs, the wireless CarPlay, the Android Auto. I like all of the color themes that you can customize. If you want it to be blue and green, you can do that. If you want it to be red, you do that. Ambient lighting inside the cabin that you can play around with. That's pretty cool. Then you've got all these different custom gauge clusters. You've got normal, sport, again taking a while for each one to come up, track, calm, classic 67 to 68, Fox body 87 to 93, and SVT Cobra 99 through 01. So I'm glad that they kind of added to the character of the car within there. And then you got your different exhaust modes. I mean, there's a lot you can do with the tech suite in here. And despite it being a little laggy, I enjoy how much it offers. Next pro, starting the engine back up here, it is this EcoBoost engine. I actually think, despite this exhaust, this is a pretty cool powertrain. It's got plenty of usable, real-world, daily driving sort of power. You could ring it out and the motor's happy to do so. This 10-speed automatic is working better than it ever has in a Mustang. And yes, I'd like to be able to manually shift it, but fortunately for daily sort of driving, it's very well handled. We'll get it out on the road here and open it up a little bit, but this is a good little powertrain for this car. Especially when you remember, it's making more power than the V8s were just 20 years ago or so. So when you look back at Mustang GTs and you're going, oh, they've got to have the V8. Nowadays, that's not really the case. You can thoroughly enjoy this car and just have the 2.3 liter. Not to mention, you're getting better fuel economy. You can put regular fuel in it if you want. You're going to get the most power with premium fuel, but you can put regular in there if you're just cruising on the highway. And it makes the car lighter. It makes it more of a sort of playful sort of experience rather than just this big heavy car experience like you get with the V8. It's fun. The only remedy to not having any manual shifting is to drive it around in L here, which essentially holds gears all the way out. I would argue that the car is asking for a tune, but even in stock form here, this is a fun car to drive around, and again, fitting the lighthearted nature of the convertible. If you can't have fun with this engine, then you're just not a fun person. Now, of course, the V8 is cooler sounding and faster and fun to row your own, but I like this engine too. The next pro as we get up here on the highway is the ride quality. This car, surprisingly smooth ride for being a sports car. Now obviously the convertible is a little bit heavier, it's going to be damped a little bit more calmly, but again, if you're just looking for a car to go out and cruise and have fun with your driving, this is a nice ride. Going over these bumps here on the highway, daily driving it, people in the car, one person, doesn't matter. They've tuned the suspension really well. And despite not having much sidewall on there, it's still a nice ride. The last pro. The Mustang is one of a dying breed of cars. And that breed is cars that exist in order to have fun, in order to enjoy your time out here on the road, rather than simply optimizing, rather than driving what makes the most sense, or is going to be the most practical, or is going to cost the least. This is a car that exists to have character and to have fun and to add a pizzazz to life. We live in a world that doesn't prioritize fun anymore. It doesn't prioritize character and individuality and enjoyment simply for the sake of enjoyment. No, you're taught these days that, oh, you got to go out and you got to buy a Toyota Corolla because that's the smartest car you can buy right now. Or, oh, you know, if you're not buying a RAV4, then you're just throwing away money. I hate to tell you, but life is too short for that sort of mentality. And brands like Chevy, giving up on the Camaro. Brands like Dodge, I mean, yeah, they're kind of coming back with the Charger, but it's not the same as the Challenger we used to know and love. Even cars, I'd go as far as to say like the Beetle or the Fiat 500, cars that, again, were not the smartest car you could buy, but they were fun and they spoke to you in a unique way. All those type of cars are going away. So the fact that the Mustang is still here, still giving us a convertible, 2+2 seating, customizable gauges, does it cost more than it should? I'll let you be the arguer of that. But to me, I just want to respect and appreciate Ford for still giving us a car that isn't the smartest option, but is an option that matters. And you'll see here as we put that on the Daily Motor leaderboard, there are other cars up near the top of the Daily Motor leaderboard that aren't the smartest to buy, but you should buy them because they speak to what cars can be, not just what they have to be. So with that, let's put the Mustang EcoBoost convertible on the Daily Motor leaderboard. 2 more cars left to rank here in 2025, with the current leaders being the Ford F-150, Hyundai Santa Fe, and Honda Passport. 3 cars that make a lot of sense, but then you get down to Volvo V90, Jeep Gladiator, and Nissan Armada Pro 4X, and I'll include the BMW M340i there, cars that speak a little bit more to that fun character side of driving. The Mustang, is it better than the Ranger Raptor? It's much better priced, honestly, if you just don't get the premium model here. Here's where it's going. I hate to put it this low. It's really not that low when you consider the cars that's below, but 19th place here out of 40, so top half, but below the Crown Signia and above the GMC Acadia. Again, a car that you don't have to buy it. In a lot of situations you shouldn't. but in a lot of ways you should, because you can have fun driving. It doesn't have to be a chore. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the EcoBoost Mustang, check the link below. We've also got our GT coverage as well. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.